Whoops, got my chair going the wrong, I got the wrong glasses on. No, I don't, not for the TV. Right. Hey, everybody, how's it going? It's a rainy day. Where's my, oh, it's on the TV. Just having my cup of tea. Give me a second here. I'll wait. I'll chat till folks come in. This, I just went for a walkabout on the property with Daddy. He's done a lot of work. You'll see the video tomorrow. Because I don't remember if you guys remember what this property looked like. But, there we go. What the heck? So, today, we're working on, well, let the ads go. We're working on, hi, how's it going, Joe? Just money. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, Scheisenheimer. Hang on a second, folks. I'll plug this in with this for now. It needs it more. Okay. I'm going to pop out the chat. All messages. See if I can't pop out the chat here. Where is the chat? Why isn't the chat showing up? All messages. Oh, for God's sake. There we are. Hi. Oh. Give me a second here. Hey, everybody. Hey, Joe, Darlene, Joe Mama, Sandra Jones, Kim Solomon. Hi, hi, hi. How's it going? I have the chat on my TV, but I can't really scroll it or anything because for some reason my old phone that Howie used to use has his YouTube on it and I couldn't change it. So I've had to like watch it through him. Now, I was telling you yesterday, that might be that's too bright. How I had to take one of these apart and because I'd sewed it wrong and I couldn't use it because this is what happens to seersucker when you pull a seam. You see, and there was just no getting around that. So today we're working on the grandmother's flower garden blocks. Now, the original one. Okay, Kim. Okay. The original one, these that my sister has, these blocks were all cut out like this. And then with no seam allowance, like, oh, for goodness sakes, like this one, okay? They were all sewn like this with this kind of seam allowance with no lines or anything. And I wanted to do another one, and I just didn't have the heart until someone said, do a paper piece one. Now, here's what a paper piece one is. Let's see, I got lots of paper pieces. I'm going to show you how I do it on the paper piece. Okay, I thought I just made a bunch. The heck did I do with them? Oh, yes, I did. Oh, no, these are the white ones. Okay, paper ones. All right. I need a bunch of paper pieces. And then I just made a whole bunch of them. And the trick is my heater on in my chair? Okay, I should have been better organized for this. Yes, it is. I got to turn it off. you over here. There are all the paper pieces. I just cut a massive amount. But anyway, I'm going to show you how I do this. Now let me get my blocks. Oops. Let me organize. That's for the other quilt. Oh, for the love of Mike. I was sure I had just cut up a whole bunch of these. All right, folks, give me a second here. Give me a second. Switching projects without paying attention to what is going on. Gotta look in my basket. There's another one. What I can do is I can sew right over. I can strip a couple that aren't going to be used. I got lots of white ones. Lots of white ones, because you need lots of white ones. Okay. That is being put away. That's being put over there. All right. I'm pissed off, folks, because I can't work on it right now. I thought, well, I did, but they're all somewhere else. But I am going to show you. This is a piece. This came out of a book. And what I did was I made a bunch of these. I made about 6 of them, and I laid them on my photocopier, and I photocopied them over and over and over again. So here's what we do, okay? Once you've made these paper pieces, I'm just ticked because I was going to sew a whole block with you. All right. Now, you take one of these paper pieces and you take a block of just any fabric. See, when I made these, I cut all the way around the block and then stitched the fabric, giving it this seam allowance. But here, I just do this. Where did my needle and thread go? The dangers of sewing in your chair. And it's this simple, okay? You just make sure it's dead nut center. And you just put a big stitch right through the paper, leaving a tail, making sure it's centered. You fold this down, and you go like up to this corner. And then you go up through this corner. Then you go up through this corner. And then down through this corner. We're just basting the fabric. And you can do this with the other quilt that I showed you. You can make paper pieces for the star one. You don't have to do it like I've been doing it. Okay? And then back through the corner. Whoops. And then up through where you originally, or close to where you originally came. Put another stitch. Now where did my scissors go? Let's see if we can get you guys at a better position here. I'm sorry, guys. Everybody's going to get seasick. Oh, hello, Toots. Was my aunt's name. You ever have one of those days where everything you touch just goes wrong? Not wrong, but becomes a pain in the butt? So we cut this off. And there's our block. Now, wait a minute. Now, you don't usually use double thread for this. You usually use single thickness thread. Because you're going to cut it off later. Now I'm going to show you a trick in a minute. After I get this done. I remember my aunt used to collect old phone books to use for paper piecing. Yeah, people used to use newspaper. You can. If you get the template, you can cut out 1,000 or so of these pieces of paper. What's beautiful about old paper piece quilts is you can find them on eBay with the paper still in them because they're not finished. And can you even see what I'm doing? The paper pieces were still attached, and you can see that they were newspaper, and they had the dates on. Some of the newspaper pieces had the dates on them still. So, I mean, there's treasures to be had. And if you have, rotary cutters, if you have an old rotary cutter blade, you can cut paper with that until back to the original corner and back up through. Now, when I run out of paper pieces, here's something that I'm going to show you I'm going to do. I got to see how many of these I need. I can't reach my blocks from here. I'll be right back. And it takes a long time for my chair for the legs to go down. Oh, well, let me see if I can find a block. Now, can you see this? These are, these are the blocks I've been working on. And if you notice, the outer ones already still have the paper in them, but the inner ones don't. That's because I needed paper blocks. This is an end block. This is how they look. Now, I have to go through these. Now, here's what I'm going to show you. Let me get this up a little bit so I can show you. Oh, that is up. Okay, let's get it up a little higher. Sorry for making you guys dizzy, but here's what I want to show you. Can you see that okay? These, or some of these, have full paper blocks. Now, we leave the outside blocks so that they can be stitched to the other ones until we're done the quilt. However, you get low on these. These ones are already stitched together with the white ones, you see? So these paper pieces, I can steal. And you just cut these basting stitches. Some people used to leave the paper right on. Look. Look. And we got a piece of our quilt here. I don't know why that's like that. You know what I need? I need my seam ripper. I do not have time. Now, where's my seam ripper? There it is. I do not have time while we're living to go and photocopy a bunch of these. Oh, this is all wrinkled. Get the ones as flat as possible. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We need 12 block pieces of. See, and you just snip this, your basting stitches. I'm not going to take them all off. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take the ones from the inside to stabilize, because these still, I just realized these still have to be covered in white, surrounded by white once they're put together. Be very careful not to cut your fabric, folks. Now we already have 2, don't we? So there's 5. But this is what it looks like. And this is what the stitches look like. See those stitches right there? Whoops. What, Gracie? Try not to rip your blocks as you're taking them out, because you're going to want to use them, aren't you? This is recycling or upcycling. And guess what? These paper blocks, if you're handled with care and ironed out, can be used over and over and over again. Do I have any other ones over here that I can steal from? Nope. What about you? Nope. What about you? Nope. What about you? No, this is the only one that I'm going to be able to steal from. I should be ironing these out. I could steal from you. Come on, baby. There we go. See, this way, when you're paper piecing, you don't need to have perfect lines. You just need to make sure that the fabric, whoops, don't drop on the floor. I don't want to bend over because it's painful. But the fabric, as long as the fabric covers the paper, and you can get a seam out of it, you're all good. Oh, I almost went through the fabric on that one. See, the basting stitch makes it really easy to take out. Sorry, folks. I made a whole bunch of blocks of these paper pieces, and I must have put them away somewhere. Okay, I think we have enough to work with here. This, my cousin Kathleen stitched when she was here to visit, and she's put her name on it. All right. Oh. 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 Sorry, folks. Blow my nose and I gotta find my Kleenex box in the process. It's here somewhere. Oh. Well, now, you see, here is 1, 2, whoops, 3, 4, 5. Hang on, frig. Now this has to be. I'm sorry, folks. My tripod keeps tripping. I have to widen the base. Okay. Yeah, that's better. I've widened the base. Okay. So now, hey, Jennifer Unicorn, Diane Maison, Alex, Carolyn. Let me just scroll this chat, see if I can't move it up here. No, it's cast to the TV and I can't see the chat. Isn't that terrible? Why isn't the chat moving on the TV? Hang on. Let me look here. It's not moving on the phone. All messages. There we go. Maybe that'll move now. Okay. Okay. 2. Did I count these? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Perfect. I didn't even count. There's a pinch to grow an inch there. All right. I'm sorry, folks. I thought I could read the chat. I can't because it's not scrolling on the TV. Even if I scroll it with the phone, it won't go. These blocks are for the grandmother's flower garden quilt that I've been working on for a couple of years. Not as long as I've been working on the Texas Star. That Texas Star was started around the same time as my last grandmother's flower garden quilt. And it's been done for years. But I have not had time because I'm hand piecing and this is hand piecing, but it's also called paper piecing because it takes the guesswork out of it for you. And as long as you can get your corners frigate dig. I am having a day. I'm not I am having a day of it, folks. I really am. And fold the other one over. Bring it back up through. Here comes the rain again. And then back up through the original one, just to make sure it stays in place. But you don't want to literally, you don't want to make it so difficult that you have to see? And tomorrow I will probably sit down and once I have all these blocks, tomorrow I will probably sit down and put one together on live. If that's what you want, please let me know. Okay? Let me know. Okay, I gotta do this. Oh, come on. I don't know why it's not letting me unzoom. Hang on. There we go. I apologize. Eating cheesecake. Good girl. Once I have these blocks all pieced on paper, and the inner rings block, then I will come back tomorrow. Right now, these have to be done. Quilting's boring, folks, unless unless you're someone like me who enjoys the peace that it gives me of just doing. It's one of the reasons I worked so well in a machine shop, because once I got the rhythm of the machine, I could sing music. I could sing songs to the rhythm of the machinery. I could zen. Repetitive things don't bother me all that much, right? Especially when you're creating. And then back up through here, and then back across here. Oh, the chat's moving. Yay! I wish it would rain here. It was 106 yesterday. Wow. That's, do I even have enough of these? How many? 1, 2, 3, I've sewn 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Where's my block? 3, 6, 9. Oh, man. I'm only going to have 9. So this is going to end up being an inner square. This block is going to end up being this part. Being the inner part. Because I only have 9. No, thank you, 106 degrees. It was supposed to be a storm, and I literally watched for 5 minutes, and it was gone. Oh. All right, I need more thread. And use single thread, okay, folks? Don't double it. I got a chicken out for supper, which will probably be 1 chicken, Um, however many meals I can make out of it. But we're going to have a roast chicken, and I'm going to make mash. I don't know if I'm going to do roast potatoes or mashed potatoes. I'm out of instant mash, so I would have to peel. Spend 5 minutes watching me thread a needle. Gracie, hush. Hush. What are you barking at? Sitting there, laying there on the couch. What'd you do, fart and startle yourself? What? Can you hear her, folks? What? You're being mouthy. What? What's your malfunction? What? Oh, really? Oh, no. Did he say? What did he say? Now she's gone to play with her toys. She just wants to know that we're listening now and again. Good Lord. My eyes. Ooh, baby back ribs in the crock pot. Yeah, I know. She just wants people to, she just wants me, you know. It's like when we sit down and watch TV, okay? When we sit down and watch TV, just as things get quiet and we are comfortable, Gracie starts making a fuss. And she'll stand in the middle of the floor and do what you just heard her do. Moan and bitch and gripe because we are paying our attention elsewhere. Wow, I just saw an old VW Volkswagen camper van go by. My Uncle Joe used to have one of them where the top pops up and you can have a nap. He loved that VW van. Had a little sink in it, and the roof popped up, and it made a little hammock. Okay. Old VWs, you can't beat them. Well, my eyes are crap, but I've been at it so long that I have a threader somewhere. I just don't bother. It's all, oh no, don't do that. I have a knot. Don't do that. Oh, come on. I would rather untangle, thank you, God. Rather untangle a knot in thread than try and rethread the needle. Okay, so that's that. You got to make sure your corners, your paper corners are fairly sharp. Okay. Another knot, for God's sake. I'm going to make ice cream with sweetened condensed milk and whipped cream. Ooh, that sounds good. They call that no churn ice cream. Voice, dang, voice type stuff. Hey, Nat, how's it going? So tell us, Renita, how do you make ice cream? Oh, wow. For God's sake. Oh, there we go. How do you make ice cream? Like, do you whip the whipping cream and then fold in the sweetened condensed milk? Oh, Bev. Well, let's hope that stays. Okay. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess I could show you if I get 9 of these or 6 of these done. How many do I have? 2, 3, 4, 5. I only need one more, and then I can show you how to start the block. How about that? I can a ton of stuff, but I'm not going to be the one that says I do not like canning. Some people enjoy it. I'm not one of those people. You'd never know by looking at my pantry, though. Well, you know what, Alex? Canning is not fun. It's work. And I will be the first person to say it's a lot of work. We don't do it because it's fun. We do it because the grocery stores are killing us. We do it because half the food that's sold in grocery stores anymore, and even at farmers markets, are genetically modified or covered in pesticides. That's why we can. That's why we garden. Nobody has to like it. But it, there's a feeling of accomplishment. In November, okay, when my knees and my back and my spirit and my everything is just so dead tired, and I think I can't put another foot in front of the other, you know what I do? I go look in my pantry, and then I put on my superhero cape and pat myself on the back, because my pantry is going to feed my family, even if it's just Howie and I. My pantry is going to feed us all winter long. Nobody likes canning, but they like, I didn't put that down, but they like the accomplishment and the sense of providing, nutrition for your family, right? Nobody likes canning. I maybe some people do, but I've been canning now since Briar was a baby. And so Briar's 31. So I've been canning for over 30 years. Okay? And it's not about liking it. It's about, a job well done in the end, right? She got 2 50-pound bags of potatoes. Each one was $17. When are you going to can those potatoes, or are you going to, dehydrate them? I got to tell you, folks, how many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can start another block. Okay. I'll put these ones away. And then I'm going to get in here. See, it helps to have these pre-made, but I didn't have a bunch pre-made. And I have no idea. See, here's one that's been started. This is what we're going to... God's sakes. This is what I'm going to make right now. Okay? Get my yellow. See, you should have a whole bunch of these made up. And then I'm going to have to, I think, I'm going to do, I don't know what I'm going to do next for the color on the outside of it, but that's another day. All right. Now we double our thread. That's right. It's a lot of work. Can them. I cannot even talk to my damn phone today without it being stupid. It's Sunday. We're supposed to be, I don't know. It's Sunday. Everything's resting. What is this? We'll go dark using the smart view. No. No. You don't get to do that. Okay. Well, yeah, I love quilting. All right. It's a lot of work. It really is. And it's very zen for me. Okay. So let me see if I can get you guys closer without getting you up my nose. Okay, that's a little better. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put these blocks right sides of work facing. Just don't worry about these threads. These are the ones we're going to pull out later. And then we're going to put them right sides of work facing. And then using a very fine overhand stitch. We're going to start at the corner. No knots. We're going to start at the corner. Okay. Maybe you'll see a little better if I turn you this way. And we go all the way until there's an inch or two left hanging. And we do a double stitch in that very first spot. Because remember, the corners of any quilt block are going to be the ones that get the most stress. So you always sew your corners really up. Now here's the trick. There. Now here's the trick, folks. Okay? You sew these together by just putting your needle right through the very edge of the fabric on both sides. You do not want to sew through the paper. Do you understand? Some people do, but the whole point of the paper, is to also give you a guide of where to sew. And then we just do this. Right through. You can't see, for God's sake. One of these days I'm going to get used to this, working this way. Okay. So now we just stitch by sewing through the fabric of each block, but not the paper. If you go too deep, you won't be able to fold your blocks flat, right? Here comes the rain again. God, it was hilarious. I went outside, I hear the whippersnapper going, I go outside, and there's Howie under the awning of the coach, stripping off his clothes. He had done a whole bunch of whippersnaps. He said, I started when it was sunny, but I kept going, and he was just soaking wet with rain. But he said, you gotta cut. I have not actually looked at the property since he's been cleaning it up. Why? Because I have to get out and walk around it. And I've only been walking around to the garden, right? Or just out to the deck. Now, I'll show you in a second. And you don't want these too tight either, because remembering that a lot of this fabric is cotton and my thread is polyester, you want it to have some give, but you want it to be... Remember in the Little House in the Prairie books, where Laura said she hated making sheets because she had to put the seams together and then sew them with an over and over stitch right down the middle, and you had to make the stitches so tiny that they would lay flat. This is exactly what Laura was talking about. And Laura never liked sewing. This is what Laura Ingalls was talking about. And see how close to the edge that is. Because if you don't sew them properly. Now we're at the corner, and you don't go past the corner, but you do add a couple of extra stitches in the corner. No knots. Now do you see that? Now watch. When you open it, it lays flat. You see that? Some people are, like me, are visual learners. Okay? And thread my needle again. Oh, please tell me I didn't drop my thread. No, I didn't. Okay. Now I dropped my friggin' thread. Oh, where are you? Please tell me I can reach. Oh, oops. Sure, sorry, folks. Hang on a second. Now I got to readjust myself in my chair here. Where do I get my fabric? You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed where I get my fabric. I get it. This is enough for me, just not my thing. That's okay, sweetheart. Very rarely do you find me going to a fabric store. That's rare. It has to be an absolutely special project to go to a fabric store. A lot of times, I used to buy things off of sorry. Come on, you. Sometimes there we go. Sometimes I used to buy it off of eBay. And sometimes I'd, if we were in town, I'd go to the fabric store. Oh, God, that was the wrong thread. I just threaded the wrong thread. We go to the fabric store, If we were in, say, we haven't been to the Akwesasne Indian Reserve in a long time. First Nations. We haven't been there in a long time. Come on, you. But they have a quilt store that used to, I don't know what, I haven't been there in years, but they used to sell fat quarters for $2. And a fat quarter is a piece of fabric 18 inches by 22 inches. It's a fat quarter meter or a fat quarter yard. And, okay, I'm going to show you in a second here. And I would pick up some there. But a lot of times, yard sales. You're going to find, if you go to yard sales, you're going to find bins of fabric. Just keep your eye out. Old shirts. I've inherited a bunch of fabric, a lot of it Christmas fabric. And I'm thinking of making a Christmas tablecloth this year. Like a quilt block one, but without any, and you just find it. Old shirts, clothing. I have walked up to total strangers or people at Howie's work and said, wow, I really like that fabric of that dress shirt. Oh, thank you. Say, when you're done with it, can I have it? I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Right? Like this, I got this fabric I bought. Can't remember where I bought it, but I remember getting it because I remember thinking I don't have a lot of black patterned fabric. Right? Now I'm going to show you how to start the next block. Oh, Michelle, I'm I've been cleaning up my closet and deconstructing my shirts and husband's shirts. It's surprising how much fabric you can get from a shirt quilting. Exactly. At the farmer's market, fill a bag for 50 cents. Wow. I would love that. And I've got a lot of antique scraps that I have bought online, right? So let me show you the second block. This is how we start the second one, okay? A thread all over the place. Okay. We're going to start with you because I don't trust your thing here. Where's the one I don't trust? Okay. So you take the right side of the work facing and you know where you want to go. So we're going to do it here. Now you could do this, make a hexagon quilt, but this is a hexagon quilt on steroids. And we, again, butt the edges right up against. What do you hear, Greg? That's Daddy out on the porch, Gracie. The weasel has long gone. And then again, we start right here at the corner. Too many loose threads hanging here. At the corner. And we go through, remember, just the fabric, not the paper. I'm going to put a pin in here just so that I don't lose my angle. Oh, I hear the wheelbarrow. And again, we just do the overhand stitch all the way along. Sometimes my fingers don't want to grab the needle because it's so slippery, but you want it slippery or it doesn't go through the fabric properly. Now we got it started on its way. We can take that pin out. And just flip the end over end. Got bags of antique scraps at estate sales. Great to repair with. One of these days, I keep saying it, I'm 60 years old. If I get these for this quilt, the star quilt, the friendship quilt, the wool shop quilt, I get all them done, I just might make a double wedding ring quilt. That's another one I've always wanted to try, but I hate sewing on curves. I made a fan quilt once, but that was for my niece, Howie's niece from, she lives in Nova Scotia now. So, really close together, really tiny stitches. Hey, Missy! I buy any more quilt scraps or fabric scraps, Howie's gonna have a bonfire. I'll tell you. And we want this right up to the corner. Right up to the corner. I gotta tell you, folks, Piecing a hexagons is much easier with paper piecing. Because it takes the guesswork out of it if you do it right. I got all my needles and pincushion and antique scissors for a couple of dollars. I'll never pay the full price. Exactly. For quilting, the best needles are sharps. The finer the needle, the less damage you do to the fabric. And because, you know, the bigger the needle, you wouldn't sew with a darning needle. You want to use quilting sharps. See now, see how nicely this folds? Look, just lays wide open. And then we turn it like this. This will have to be folded a little bit, but you don't fold it with a crease. Put a pin through the end just to hold it in place while we get started. Oh, wow. I didn't know you could crochet them. I'm not good at crocheting. I can make granny squares, but I couldn't read a pattern to save my life because I'm self-taught. Whoops. Alrighty. Found a piece of green, almost an exact match to finish my top. Can't wait to quilt it. Oh, that's awesome. See, I talk about making a Christmas quilt for my table. You know how I put, you know, clear vinyl over top of my Christmas tablecloth. But here I've got so many projects going and no sewing machine. This is why I'm quilting by hand. Well, you couldn't do this on a machine. That's one of the problems my Aunt Jane told me. Don't try and do the grandmother's flower garden. You'll break your heart. Because she tried it on a sewing machine. And when you're sewing... Oh, where are you? When you're sewing something like this, okay, you have to get all the way up, but not quite to the corner of the fabric. Turn the machine and go all the way down. That's really difficult on a sewing machine. That's why it's better to do that by hand. And I think this might be the outer fabric. What do you think? What do you think? No, I don't think so. We'll see. We'll see. I can take this pin out now because I've already attached. And now I can hold it together by hand. You can use newspapers, magazines, or you can cut, and you can cut enough that when you have a whole bunch of blocks done, you can take out the inner blocks paper from around the center and reuse them like I just showed you. But always leave the outside block on, papers on, until you have it all sewn together. And then when the top is all sewn together, you do the laborious process of taking some people leave them in, like if they're tissue paper or whatever, like foam, like somebody was saying their grandmother did foam books. You can leave them in and they'll just, you know, dissolve when you wash them into the in center of the quilt. But I like a stiffer paper, like a cardboard almost, like cardstock almost. Now we're at the end here, and we're just gonna give an extra couple of stitches. And see? And then we start. Hey, Linda! How many of these flowers do I need to make? Probably anywhere from 36 to 49. It depends. I'm making them 6 long or 6 wide, but I don't know if they're probably going to be 7 long or 8 rows long. So we'll see. We will see. I'll know when I have enough, when I've got enough. But you would have to measure it out. You'd have to. Hang on. You would have to, like, this is in a book somewhere, and it'll tell you how many blocks you need to make a king, a crib, or I've never really paid much attention, right? My Grace quilting frame will do no larger than a queen. So I like, this is, I haven't decided whether, if Arthur and Mel get married, they'll get this. That's it, that's all. But if they decide to just, live as married, then, well, they're just going to have to deal with the quilts they got. It's kind of the way it works. I make quilts for my children and for wedding quilts, right? And our good son, we call him the good son, Alex, is getting married next July. So I'll probably be putting a scrap quilt together, but it'll be like, the one I did for Brother John, like it'll probably be a log cabin quilt again. And if I do that, there will be a video. So I may get it started this winter. And then may get it started this fall. See if I can't get the top made in the fall and then quilt it over the winter. We'll see. For size, yeah, it's just a guess. Of these flowers, these are approximately 12 inches wide. And then you got to account for the fact that you have to put white blocks in between because those are the garden paths. Okay? They call this an English flower garden because flower gardens in England, the old-fashioned flower gardens, used to be sculpted. They're not just sewn or edges or whatever. They would build tiers and hexagons and walking paths and all kinds of stuff. That's why this is called Grandmother's Flower Garden. I have a grandmother's flower garden top that my granny hand sewed. It has pieces of fabric from her dress when I was 3. Have you quilted it? Is it just the top? You should finish it, Missy. Like, is it in good shape? Is it a quilt or is it just the quilt top? Because you can pay to have it quilted, eh? Some people have long arm quilting machines and they can quilt them. They can quilt up quilts in like a day, right? Where hand quilting takes a lot longer. I prefer hand quilting. Like I'll piece a lot of my quilts. Now I got to go through that corner again. I will piece a lot of my quilts by machine. Okay? I'll piece a lot of my quilts by machine. But quilting for me is doing it by hand. When you go to quilt it on the frame, you do it by hand. A lot of places will quilt a quilt top for you on a machine for, I don't know. I don't know how much it costs. But if it's just a quilt top, Missy, you should get it quilted and use it. Like my Aunt Jane said, don't leave it. Well, don't necessarily, you don't have to use it. You could hang it on a wall. Quilt hangings are you can use quilts like tapestries and hang them on the wall. A, they're insulative. B, they're artwork. And C, they are less apt to get wrecked that way. Unless you have smokers in the house. But nobody smokes in my house. Not enough to do any damage. And that's just, it's not cigarettes, so. Oh, I think I'm missing the chat. Yes, my phone went. Okay. It's only the top. The fabric isn't brittle per se. It's at least 50 years old. Not sure it would handle the pull of the thread. Wow, that's a shame, Missy. Because if you can say soak it, not in tap water, okay? Unless you're on a well, do not use tap water for antique quilts, okay? The chlorine and the chemicals can kill the fabric. But what you can do is you can get a 5-gallon bottle of spring water and put half of it in your sink with a little bit of ivory snow, and I mean a little bit of ivory snow soap, if they still sell it. And then just fold it up and put it in, and then just press it down and press it down and press it down. And then when you want to, oh, awesome, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Evangeline and Edie. Happy birthday to you. My grandmother found out the hard way to check quilts that were sewn by people. She got one from a friend, and hers, by the time to be washed, she found out it was stuffed with tissues. Ooh. So, if you soak it in rainwater, or with a little bit of ivory snow or spring water, and then just pull the plug and let it drain. Pull the plug and let it drain. And then put the plug back in and fill it up with fresh water and rinse, just pushing it down under the water. Okay? And then you let the water out. You make sure you get all the soap out, not that you're going to use much. And then you hang it or you lay it over something. You can put cake racks on your table and then just drape it over your table to dry, and the cake racks will keep air circulation. You don't want to hang it on a line until it is gotten rid of enough water that it doesn't pull on the fabric. Okay? And then when it's partially dry, you can hang it on the line, but don't hang it in the sun. Sun bleaches. Okay? I bet you she was not amused. You're welcome, sweetheart. You're very welcome. So, I mean, there's so many ways. Like, I've never made a crazy quilt. But it's not one of those things that, I think they're beautiful, but they're more for displaying fancy stitching than they are about putting pieces together to tell a story or whatever. Every quilt tells a story. Every quilt. Okay. And I have a feeling there's going to be a few weddings coming up in the next couple of years. So, there is the beginnings of a block. You see? Isn't it going to be lovely? I still haven't decided what I'm going to do around the edges. Older tops need to be hydrated first before treating stains. I've done it with tap water, but not if I can smell the chlorine. Right. I just set the water on my raspberry patch. I'm so excited. There's so many raspberries. Oh, wonderful. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. We've been here for over an hour, and for some people, it's like watching paint dry, especially when I'm frigging around with camera angles and stuff. But here's what the blocks look like. And see, you can see I've taken the paper out of this one, but I've left the paper in the edges until I start sewing it together. And when I have enough rows of these put together or made, I will start showing you how. And it's very much like this, because you can see that these stars with their borders actually make a hexagon, right? This is Mrs. Wolfe from our half-acre homestead saying, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for keeping me company. I'm going to get some more work done. Mwah! Take care. God bless.